start streaming. So we're going to look at the much awaited for the JC home button. Yay, the JC home button. And I got a chance to try this out for the very first time today. And guess what? It works! Yay! It really is pretty cool. So I've got this tester phone here, and I'm going to work backwards to show you guys exactly how this works. So we've known for a long time that ever since the iPhone 7, home button problems are everywhere, because for the very first time with the iPhone 7, you can't just swap out a broken home button. The home button biology changed from a clicky button that we all used to love on the iPhone 6 and earlier to the new capacitive touch with the fingerprint sensor embedded in the button, and no more clicky with the iPhone 7. So for years, there's been no solution. If your iPhone 7 or later, iPhone 8, 8 Plus, like this one, if your button broke, then you were SOL for a clicky home button. And all of that has changed with the clever little innovation from the guys with JC Tools. So these are guys in China that sat down and said, hey, I just love the innovation of this idea. So this little home button is a Bluetooth device. So clever. I love it. Isn't it clever? So it is a total Bluetooth device. So you're going to install this in the home button position. So I've got one in this one right here. Love it. It's just so clever. Love it. So click, and it has that clicky click that we love so much. So this is a Bluetooth device that when installed in the home button position, you just pair it. So you can see on this one, Bluetooth. Hopefully you guys can see that. So Bluetooth, I am connected to my MB Home. All right, so connected. Now because it's connected, I have total working home button function. No fingerprint sensor. This is just a clicky button home button. So this is great for anybody that does a DIY repair and nicks or breaks or damages the native home button. Now you can get one of these guys, install it, and it will feel like a home button. Touch ID is part of the fingerprint sensor. So let's talk about Touch ID. So let's find Touch ID. Let's see, can you see that? Yep, Touch ID and passcode. I made a basic passcode for this. So add a fingerprint. Touch ID itself is going to be grayed out because there is no fingerprint sensor. So there's no security risk or all of the things that went around with Error 53. There is no fingerprint sensor on this home button. It's simply a Bluetooth connected home button. So clever. I just love that so much. Now, in order for a Bluetooth device to work, if you were going to design this out of the box yourself, a Bluetooth device needs to have some kind of power source. So what's the power source for this thing? And that's where it gets really creative. So let's show you how the guys at JC Pro have figured this out. Love it so much. All right. Let's disconnect. So I'm going to disconnect the battery, and I'm going to release this screen. All right, so let's first look at the screen itself, and you can see that the Bluetooth home button goes in the regular home position, and it looks really similar to the native home button. Let's take a look at it under the microscope. Ah, come on, microscope, you can do it. Microscope. Let's get rid of this. All right, so under the microscope, look at that button. It looks just like you would expect. So we've got it connected to the screen here at the regular old home button flex, and we can disconnect it. And here it is. It looks just like a regular old home button, except we've got this weird chip here. We've got this chip, we've got some kind of a crystal, and we've got a bunch of passive components. And then under here we have the actual clicky toggle button, like the game Trouble, the popper under there. So if we pop this whole thing out, It installs just like you would expect a regular iPhone home button to install. Look at that. I mean, it looks really, really well done, and it has that sort of like clickiness. Hear it? I mean, it really does feel just like you would imagine that it should, which is fantastic. Now let's compare that to a native home button. So here's what the original home button looked like on this device. So this is what we come to expect. So it's really similar. So here's a native home button. On this one, it was white. And on the native home button, we have the flex, and then we have the turtle IC that is responsible for translating the pressure of your fingerprint into ones and zeros. All right, so for some reason, this native home button quit working. And we could either throw this phone away. This phone actually did go to Apple to get a screen swap with a new home button, and guess what? Apple declined them. Why? Apple declined them because this phone had a fairly straightforward repair. It, at one time, had one of its image line chokes knocked off through pry damage, and at one time it had a 1v8 filter knocked off. So we've already replaced those to bring back image. And then when it turned out that the home button was broken, Apple declined to swap the new screen and give them a new home button because this device has been tampered with. Well, not so fast. Thanks to the JC home button, now it's going to have home button function as well. So let's see how it works. So I'm going to swap back in the JC button. I mean, this is so, I love the cleverness of it. I love the ingenuity of it. And I really like the idea of all of us supporting this kind of effort. Like, I love the creativity of this. Creative problem solving. Such a clever solution. A Bluetooth device home button. So smart. I absolutely love it. So let's look and see how does this button, this little Bluetooth device, how does itself get power? Now we've got it plugged into the screen, and the screen flex goes along through here, and it ends up coming out at the home button connector on the screen. So this little guy is going to plug into the logic board, and it plugs into the logic board here at the home button connector. Now, in order to actually provide power through the home button connector from the phone out to power the Bluetooth device, we need to make a little jumper. So we made our jumper by soldering together this spot here. So we have connected our main power rail from the battery to this unused rail, 16 volt Mesa rail. That rail is unused when you don't have the Mesa fingerprint sensor. So if you've thrown away your Mesa fingerprint sensor, or your native home button is torn or doesn't work, that line is just sitting there. So I love how clever this is. Let's just take the main power rail, plug it into the Mesa unused power rail, and then plug in your Bluetooth device, pair it with a phone, and bingo, there you go. All right, so let's look on ZXW so that you can see what we're talking about with this jumper. So let's just throw that up there. And you can see that I have connected together, this is an iPhone 8 Plus. So this is VDD main is jumpered with a small wire to this guy, 16VO Mesa. Mesa is the name of the fingerprint sensor. So the Mesa chip is the fingerprint sensor. Well, there's no fingerprint sensor, so there is no Mesa voltage produced. It doesn't get enabled, so Mesa Boost does not make that. That's 0 volts without a native home button. And all you do is marry those together. Now, soldering, I think, is a really straightforward thing to do, to make two puffy pillows on those two test points and put a thin wire there. That's really robust. And, you know, at least on this phone, there's really no downside because this phone has already been declined by Apple, so we can't just go to Apple and get a screen replacement with a new home button, so there's no reason to not make that a really firm connection. Now, if you are just getting one of these and you're going to try to do it DIY, which is fantastic, the way this thing is put together, which I also think is super clever, is, let's put this back, it comes in a, here's your button, and then it comes as sort of a multi-adapter kit. So you could use this one JC home button in any one of these devices. So if we look at this little thing that comes with it, let's look back under the microscope and look at this little strip, and we can see that it comes with the ability to plug this button into any one of these types of phones, 7, 7 Plus, 8, or 8 Plus. Now, what are these things? These are little gold contact looking doohickeys. So the intent is that you would just take out this, kind of pop out this little sticker. I mean, this by itself is like really ingenious. I absolutely love it. All right, so you could just take out, where did it go? This little sticker, and it has some adhesive on the back of it. And if you didn't want to solder in your phone and you wanted to use the JC Home button, then you could just install this little sticker. All right, we've got a question from chat. A question from the chatty person that is Mark Schaefer. All right, let's see. We'll get to Mark's question in a second. All right, let's see how this would go. So if you didn't want to solder in your phone instead, you could just do this, which is the same thing, just using pressure from the adhesive, and then they've got these foam-looking push-downers. You could rig something like that up that would press down and kind of make that jumper for yourself. That's not as robust as soldering. Soldering is really straightforward. Everybody should be able to do this. This is very easy on test points. It's not super tiny. You don't need a microscope. You should be able to connect those two dots with a little thin wire, little piece of single ply braid even, and that would be fine. All right, so let's put this back together, and now let's answer Mark's question. Let's see, can anybody guess what Mark's question is? All right, let's put this back together and see if we can guess what Mark's question is. Let's see. It is just a Bluetooth button. Well, let's say it a different way. Someone came up with a Bluetooth button. Isn't that remarkably innovative? Yes, it is. So that you can have the feel and the touch of a classic home button, no annoying assistive touch. Touch the home button, it responds just like you would expect, all through somebody coming up with the really clever solution of, hey, why don't we just make a home button that looks and feels natural, but it's actually a Bluetooth device, and why don't we power it down one of the unused 16-volt lanes? I love it. It's so clever. All right, and while we're waiting for this thing to boot up, hopefully it'll still boot up, this button that was showed up here in the mail, this showed up here to review from our buddies at Union Repair. So this is from Sven Chen, and I really appreciate what I saw Sven Chen doing to bring this button to fruition. I saw him teaming up with our buddy Justin Ashford. So Justin from The Art of Repair. So go over and check out his channel. Justin is living in China, super exciting, and he has access to all sorts of these awesome things. And it was really, really fun for somebody from the US microsoldering community to have boots on the ground in China and still be in contact with all of us, so that he was the first one that got to actually lay eyes on this, and Sven and Justin worked together, which I thought was a really nice collaboration. So thanks to you guys for vetting this out, and thanks to Union Repair for sending us our demo button. And I absolutely love it. It's totally working. Wake back up. Uh-oh. Did I break it? Wait. Oh, do I have to repair it after I disconnected it? Interesting. All right. Uh-oh. Now touch isn't working. Uh-oh. Why don't I pay attention? All right, let's see. This button sucks. You know what, Mark? I really think you should put a new connector on here. I really do. I think it's worth it to just kind of rule that out on why the original button didn't work anyway. Alrighty, you broke it. Yep, that's the way that it goes. All right, let's let this thing wake up. All right, let's see. So Mark's question was, how much current does it consume? I forgot the passcode that I put on this. Yeah, there we go. How much current does it consume when the phone is off? Which I think is a really good question. Let's see. Do I need to repair it since I dismantled it? Let's see. Bluetooth on. Home button connected. Yeah, there we go. Working. Yay! Love it, love it, love it. And it has the, single click, double click. Is this how you call up Siri? Hi Siri, can you hear me?
I'm here.
Hey, guess what? We totally replaced your home button. Ha ha.
I guess I'm not the greatest guesser.
I guess not. I don't think you would have guessed that in a long time. All right, very cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and boot this on DC power supply so that we can ask the question of how much, if any, current draw is there when we have the phone just kind of sitting around. All right, let's check that out. Let's see. Oh, I don't think I can get my DC power supply all the way over to my camera. Boo! All right, I gotta vote for it's gonna draw 40 milliamp. All right, let's see.
I mean, it should draw some with the phone turned off, not even booted.
Well, let's find out. Let's find out. All right, so we are now going to disconnect the battery, and we're going to plug in the DC power supply squid. Oh wait, we need to get the right connector, and it's not that one. Where is it? Here it is. Oh, this is all discombobulated. It was Sex Toy Mini Day, the favorite day at Practical Board Repair School. Oh, this is going to be tough to snug it in there. All right, there we go. So I have the DC power supply connected. Let's go ahead and see if this phone will boot. I think I'm going to need to hold that screen in there this whole time. Let's see. Boot, boot, boot. Will it boot? All right, so its current consumption seems to be pretty normal. We are going to compare what, did it quit booting? Did it come out? What's going on here? Damn it. I think I'm going to swap my squid for one that fits a little bit better. Alrighty. So this is a really nice option for anybody that has a home button problem on iPhone 7, 7 Plus, 8, or 8 Plus. If you got declined from Apple, where's the other squid that has the iPhone 10 connector? I thought we had two today, and I thought that there was some reason why this one kind of wasn't fitting in there on some other phone. Probably should have done a little bit of prep. Get in there.
We do it around here. We just wing it.
We wing it. Yes, we do. This one's just, battery is just like a little bit thick sitting there. I don't know if I'll be able to hold it in there. All right, so I don't see any current draw before I prompt to boot. Let's see. Wake up. I think I definitely need a new squid. All right, so let's watch that. I'm going to leave it exactly like this and not move. All right. Yeah, see, this squid can't stay in there. To turn this sucker on. Give me a new squid. All right, find me the one that we were using all day. Which I don't think was this one.
Was it this one?
Maybe. Does it have iPhone 10?
Yes.
Great. Then it probably was that one. Oh yeah, that's a nice one. That's a good one. All right. Let's see. So I forgot to do a video. I ended up going to going with the kids last weekend rather than going to the shop. And I didn't do my video on Justin's battery project. So we still need to do that. All right, so this phone is booted up, and let's use the button. It's just so cute. Clicky. All right. I really wish that we had a camera on that DC power supply. It's really annoying because nobody can see anything. All right, so button's working, and the power supply looks pretty normal, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to consume such a small amount, you won't even really be able
All
to
right,
tell.
so now let's make it turn off, and it is consuming nothing remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, that's just with the screen off, though, so it's going to consume something anyways because it's still running.
Right, I get it. But there's no market increase in current consumption that we can tell as we sit over here and look at the DC power supply. Not that I can tell. Does it jump out at you?
No.
I mean, I think this is what a normal phone
Yeah, it
would
looks
do
pretty
anyway.
normal.
All right, let's go ahead and turn it off and see if there is any current draw from the battery while the phone is off. So it's turning off, and current is 0. All right, 0, 1 milliamp, 0 milliamps, 1 milliamp,
Yeah.
0
So
milliamp.
somewhere around 1 milliamp.
1 milliamp. If you can afford 1 milliamp, maybe even half a milliamp because it's flickering around. Not 10, 1 milliamp. So 0 point,
Yeah.
So
that's
yeah,
one of
that's
my
fine.
first thoughts was that, okay, you're putting this into main, obviously it's going to be drawing power at all, ever. Like, it's constantly going to be getting power.
Right.
So what effect is that going to have on your battery life?
None.
Yeah, the answer is not
The
any
answer
effect
is
you'd
none.
notice.
All right, let's see. Great innovation. What DC power supply are you using? The $100 one. Love it. The cheap one. Yes, the cheap one. All right. The nice one can be cheap too. Let's see. All right. How do you get past press home to upgrade? Press home to upgrade, we sell a dongle for that. So if you go to iPad Rehab Supply, for a long time we have been selling the press home to upgrade dongle. So I will be happy to show you guys that. Let's see if we can get a browser window. Where is it? Do I need to keep my finger on this? Probably not. I'm going to disconnect that. So for the press home to upgrade problem, you can go, is that going to work? It does work! Oh my gosh! You can go to iPadRehab.com and click iPad Rehab Supply Store. Hooray! And you can check out our home button dongle. Now the supply store, I gotta figure out how to organize stuff. Somewhere in here there it is, the press home to recover, press home to update dongle. So this is what we use here when we need to press home to upgrade, because these buttons are almost certainly not going to work unless you have a case where you've already Bluetooth paired it. So I don't think that's going to happen. So they require Bluetooth pairing in order to work. In fact, if you turn Bluetooth off, then you're going to lose your home button function as well. And we did try out that you can have multiple Bluetooth devices connected, so you can still connect your other Bluetooth devices. All right, so there you go for that. Where can you buy the dongle? We will put a link. I doubt that iPad Re-Up Supply is going to get into the business of dongles. So you can get them from lots of places around. We would recommend Union Repair, because Union Repair are the nice folks that sent us this particular dongle. So we would get one from them. And we are going to stream again tonight. We have something that we've been really excited about trying out. So we're going to show you guys a really cool case that Mark is working up right now. So we are going to close out of this one, and it looks like, yes, the JC home button does work as a home button. Totally innovative. I absolutely love it. If you should have some on hand in case you get in a bind and you need to, kind of get somebody their home button function. If you have any phone that just nobody really cares about Touch ID, but they would like to use it, great solution. Absolutely love it. And I love the innovation. I hope that you guys all support it. So that is it for our home button.